welcome back. Now, in today's episode, I'm going to try to answer your question. It could take all day to do it. How to have a successful real estate business. So I'm going to start by telling you it's not easy, and you can attend a college course that's going to help you out, but you're going to have to get a mentor, a guide, someone to help you out, maybe even a coach. All right, so I know a lot of people, what they do is they go to a real estate course and they study the questions and they memorize the questions so they can take a test. Well, folks, that's not going to be the real estate business, but what it is going to do for you is at least you're going to know the questions that the state and the governor want you to know. So a good place to start to learn is going to be right here, and I'll give you some good idea. All right, now what works for successful people? It's important to start out with a long-range plan. Now, what do I mean by that? You need to plan this because this can be a very lucrative career. All right, now if you don't have money, think about how you're going to take care of yourself. Do you have your own money you're going to do this? Are you going to borrow money? Are you going to use an investor? Okay, what's it going to take to survive while you go through this training and get through that first year, because you're going to learn so much in that first year. Now, more than likely, you have a family, you have expenses, and you don't have a lot of money. So figure that out before you get in-depth into the real estate business. Why? Because you're going to put a lot of pressure on yourself if you don't have money trying to make money in real estate. Sometimes it's very quick, but most people, it takes them quite a while to get started. So start building yourself up by going to class, build your skills, and that's probably the best place to start. Now, is there a lot of different parts of real estate? There certainly is. Traditional real estate is usually homes, small farms, small office buildings, things like that. All right, but there's all kinds of other things from commercial to whatever. I'm not going to go through those now, but you're probably going to start out at the basic level, and you'll probably start doing that, building your skills in a class. Now, there's nothing wrong with business planning. So if you write out a business plan, that's really a good idea. Now, most business plans are going to have one thing that's lacking. Now, many of these plans are really good looking because what people do is they go to the internet and they just download a business plan. Well, it's going to be more than that, but here's the challenge. Those business plans will be loaded with information. They're very impressive if you put a business plan in front of somebody. But here's what they lack. They lack two very important things. One is, how are you going to create revenue? And number two, how are you going to sell stuff? So let's start thinking about who are going to be your advisors, who are going to help you. I know that your relatives are going to give you opinion. I'm sure that your family is going to give you lots of opinion. But those are your relatives, those are your friends, those are your family. You need to get people that are going to be experienced to give you their opinions. All right, now the problem is you have everyone around you is expressing opinions. Those opinions are okay, it's a free country. However, you need experienced people to teach you what's going on. All right, now most business plans are not going to show you how to make money. They're not going to show you how to sell. All right, they're going to be a business plan. They can talk about insurance, talk about time management, talk about an office. I mean, they'll go into great detail. Why do they go into all these details? Because they're written by authors and publishers and professors and so-called experts. So there's dozens of these templated business plans. What you really need to learn how to do is you need to learn how to generate revenue and how to sell things. They're going to talk about time management for 5 pages in the business plan. Folks, time management might be important, but there's nothing more important than generating revenue. If you can't generate revenue and you can't sell, you're probably not going to last in the real estate business. All right, so that in-depth know-how is going to come from where? It's going to come from other people. All right, you don't need to spend hours studying insurance. You don't need to spend hours on what the entity is. Is it going to be a limited partnership? Is it going to be a corporation? All those things. You don't need to spend hours on that. You need to spend hours on producing revenue and how to sell stuff, okay? All right, now business planning is just that. It's a business plan. All right, now if you download a business plan, fine, go ahead and read it. I see some people walking around with 100 pages of business plan. But when I say, all right, well, turn to the page that shows how you're going to generate revenue, turn to the other page that's going to show how you're going to do sales, that's not even in the business plan. So now you know, if you don't generate money, you're not going to have a business. Simple as that. All right, now the reason you didn't get that information is because who wrote the business plan? Probably a professor or a teacher. All right, You need someone with real estate experience. All right, simple business. You buy it low, you sell it high. That's what it's all about. Buy it low and sell it for a profit. That's how you make money in the real estate business. Not difficult. Now, do you have to follow the rules? You can't do anything in real estate unless it's in writing. So when you start putting things in writing, you better make sure that you're doing the right thing. I've been involved in an alternative part of real estate for over 30 years. All right, you can do this from a home office if you want, or you can do it in a big business. All right, but I'm going to tell you, it's not glamorous. There's nothing sexy about it. The properties are below average in most cases. All right, so motivated people can do this business. This is a business of tax liens and tax deeds. It's really a subset of the real estate business, and it's been around for over 200 years. And on this video, I'm going to show you examples, give you some ideas of how you can make money in that business. You can do it part-time, you can do it full-time, you can be young, you can be old, it's not going to matter. You just need to learn how to do the business. It's been around for 200 years. All right. Now ask yourself, who are you getting your advice from? You need to start determining who you're going to learn from. Now you need to either get a coach, a mentor, a guide, or you need to find some experienced business people. I can tell you, I became successful when I started asking successful people what enabled them to make a lot of money, what enabled them to run a successful business. And when they told me, I made notes. And when I went ahead and tried what they told me to do from the notes, well, it worked for me too. So that's who you need to get advice from. I'm not negative on your family. I'm not negative on your friends. Your friends are just that. They're at the same level you are. They probably don't know anything about real estate. So those opinions and that direction, not going to help you a lot. All right, so I doubt if their opinions are going to work. Always think about who you're getting your opinions from. A coach, a guide, a mentor, very important if you're going to learn real estate. After all, you're making a choice for a career. A career could be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. Make the right choices when you start so that you learn how to do business. All right, there's plenty of money to make. You're just going to have to be careful and pay attention to the right people. Always aspire to someone that's above you. All right, if you emulate those people, you're going to do okay. A good example of all this is if you're a real estate person and you're already in real estate, what do you always do? Well, trying to emulate someone that's making more money than you. If you're just starting, then you have to say, I don't want to just do basic real estate. I want to be able to make some money and really take care of my family. So here's what I did. 30 years ago, I actually discovered this. I didn't know this hidden market was available, but as soon as I saw it and learned a little bit about it, I never looked back. Now, this market has been available for over 200 years. Now, I was impressed day one. Why was I impressed? Because number one, I could see I could buy low, and I knew if I could buy low, 10, 20, 30 cents on the dollar, I could sell at a higher price and make money. I was surprised, I was delighted, and when I found out it was available in over 3,000 counties, then I knew this business could be something I could make a career of. All right, so what's your objective into real estate? If you want to have a successful real estate business, you must develop revenue. If you're going to develop revenue, you probably have to do that to learn a little bit about sales. It's a lot easier to sell properties if you can be below the market, whether the market's booming or whether the market's going downhill. If you can get below the market, you're going to be able to sell to all the bargain hunters that are out there. All right, so this business is all about tax defaulted property, tax liens, tax certificates. Now, what's that all about? It's people that didn't pay taxes. If they don't pay taxes, they lose the property. Who do they lose the property to? Well, the legislature in every state has made rules that the county will collect property taxes. In over 3,000 counties, they'll have over 5,000 auctions this year. So there's literally millions of properties where people have defaulted on their loans, and guess what? Those loans are being defaulted on, and the taxes are being defaulted on. And those properties are going to be confiscated by the county. Now, I don't make the rules, but in the real estate market, the legislature makes the rules. And the rules are this: the local county will levy the taxes, try to collect taxes. If they can't collect it, they're going to seize the property. What does that mean? They're going to seize the property, they're going to confiscate it, and then they're going to resell it. Now, when they go to resell it, that county sells the property for 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar. And they wipe out the mortgage or the deed of trust loan. So what I'm saying, folks, is the county the local county treasurer is going to sell those properties for 60%, 70%, 80% discounts. In other words, discounted from the tax assessed value. Folks, if you can buy property for 60%, 70, or 80% below the market, you certainly are going to be able to make some money. All right, so the margin between what you buy it for and what you sell it for, you get to keep. And there's going to be thousands of these properties. And I'll talk about that as I go along here. Now, I've been teaching and guiding people in this business for decades. And I'm telling you, there's 3,000 counties. All 3,000 counties will sell these properties, and they will sell them just to recover the back taxes. Now, the government, meaning the treasurer of your county, is going to sell the property, and they're going to eliminate the mortgage or the deed of trust when they do that. Now, I didn't make the rules. The treasurer is going to make the rules. Everybody has to follow those rules. Now, the real estate business requires lots of staff and lots of people. You can do this all by yourself from an office at home. There's no peaks, there's no valleys for you, because this business is always there. There's always properties that can be resold. Now, in the low population counties, you'll be able to find dozens of tax defaulted properties that the county wants to sell. In the large population counties, there's actually going to be hundreds of properties, in some cases thousands of properties that the county wants to get rid of. They'll discount the property 60%, 70%, and 80%. And I'm going to give you an example. For example, a $100,000 valued property with past due taxes of $5,000, they'll start the auction at $5,000. You'll find that auction in the newspaper, and you'll also find it on the county website. Anybody can attend. It's a public auction. All right. Now, what if someone bids on the property other than someone at $5,000? So if it started at $5,000, someone could bid $10,000, someone could bid $20,000. If someone bid $30,000 and that's a high bid, the county will sell the property, even though it's valued at $100,000. They'll sell it for $30,000. The purchaser will get a deed to that property. Now the purchaser can sell the property for anything they want. So where would you sell it? Well, you could use Zillow, you could use Trulia, you could put in a multiple listing system, you could use Craigslist. You're getting the idea. You can sell it anywhere you want. Do you have to sell it for $100,000 the value? Why don't you just sell it for $60,000? Well, if you sold it for $60,000 and you bought the property for less than that, the difference between whatever you paid for it and whatever you sell it for is your money to keep. All right, so you're getting the idea. So this is a good business. And this is one of the ways that I found to be very successful in the real estate business. I could do it from home, and I didn't require a lot of people. So I'm finished on this video, and for those of you who want a free gift, it's right below me right now.